Hi, I thought I'd go over some of my favorite drone and aviation related websites. All of these are linked in the description. I've been flying drones since about 2014, where I started on a little Andromeda Kodo and worked my way up to a DJI Phantom. I recently got my 107 certification so we can add aerial services to our business. Alright, with all of that out of the way, let's dig into our first site, UAV Forecast. UAV Forecast will give us a forecast of the weather. It'll use your location. You can register a new account and log in if you like. You can set the source, but you really don't need to do that anymore because the only other source they had, they stopped using in 2021. So they're going to use their own source. And then we have all these limiters we can set up here. And this way, it tells the application what we're willing to tolerate in terms of what means something good or something bad on the list for the forecast. Now, below this, we also have some options that are really for subscribers only. You can do a paid version of this, but the free version will show you 24 hours of forecast, which for me is generally all I need. And below that, we can specify how we want values to be indicated, imperial or metric, what have you. And below that is going to be our address. And below that, we can see we have 7 DJI no-fly zones nearby. And it's advising us to check the map. So if we bring up this little map here, scroll it down a little, we can zoom out and we can see there's a bunch of no-fly zones around the location that the application thinks I'm at. I'm actually not in Kansas City. I just chose this as an example. With the map put away, we can see here that we have a bunch of values for us to check, and on the right side is a good to fly value. We also have a cloud cover visibility, visible sats. KP, what is KP? KP index measures geomagnetic disruption caused by solar activity on a scale from 0 calm to 9 major storm. Anything at or below 3 or 4 is usually safe for flying. And right now I have it set to 5 because I found that 5 is actually about what I need for the stuff that I want. This is one of the only websites that actually shows you a KP index. So that's one of the reasons why I like to use this site, if nothing else, just to check that KP index. And then we have a good to fly indicator on the right side of the little table here. And that good to fly is governed by those values up above where you set the limits on what you're willing to tolerate as a decent flight environment. Now, down at the bottom here, you can see it says a free edition shows 24 hours and an upgrade for 7 hours of hourly forecast, which is $3 a month or $30 a year, blah, blah, blah. I just use the free version. I find that's adequate for my needs. They also have a nice mobile app. As you can see here, it gives me a quick summary of the current conditions. It says good to fly up there. And we can also, at the bottom down here, you can see we have different days of the weeks. We could select, if I was paying for the app, I could do that. But I can look at later in the day and see that it's not good to fly at certain points today. But gives us that same kind of grid, and you've got the same kind of settings that you have on the website. So overall, a pretty nice little setup with the website and the mobile app together. Next is Before You Fly. This is the actual website that is recommended by the FAA for drone flyers. And we're looking at Kansas City here once again. I've got a marker right here in this area, which is a little bit southeast of Kansas City, and it says clear for takeoff, that there are no active advisories. And it does show me that there are a few areas here that are restricted airspace that are close by. And now if I come into Kansas City proper here like this, you can see it says control airspace and that we would need authorization to fly. And it says permissible altitude for authorization 200 feet. And from here, we can get a low altitude authorization to use this area here and fly our drone below 200 feet. So that's kind of nice. You can just do that straight from the website right here. If we go to different spots, you can see it's 100 feet here. If I go right here, it's controlled airspace, and no LAANC is available for that. If I come over to here, we can see it's 0 feet. And but as we move out towards the edges of this, you're going to see we're going to get 100 feet and 400 feet for that, which is, you don't really need a LAANC for that, because 400 feet is the limit with which you can fly your drone anyway. So this is a real nice website. And as we zoom out, we can see, for example, right here we have a restricted operations area, and there is no LAANC. If you're not aware, LAANC is a way to get clearance to fly in controlled airspace where it's permissible. And these are done electronically. Usually just takes a few moments to do it. They're going to ask questions like, when are you going to start flying? When are you going to stop flying? And that sort of thing. And they do that because the airspace can change depending upon the date and time. If you get a VIP into an area, you'll get a no-fly zone, things like that. Before You Fly also has a mobile app just like UAV Forecast. Most of the other websites we're going to look at supply a free mobile app version of their website. As you can see here with the Before You Fly app, it has the same kind of UI where I can just tap on it here, and then down below it will show me that this is controlled airspace. If I come over here and tap on the map below, it now indicates that it's clear to fly in that area. If I tap out towards the edge of the KC airspace, we can see that it indicates controlled airspace, but we can get clearance by submitting an LAANC from right within the app. Pretty nice. It also shows us some areas adjacent to our location that have controlled airspace. As you can see here, it's really designed for a mobile phone and doesn't open up the display to support a tablet. All right, let's move on to the next website. All right, our next website is called AIRMAP, and AIRMAP is similar to Before You Fly, except that what it does is it'll break out specific areas with a grid, as you can see here. This is Kansas City again, and now you'll notice that each of the little grids has a number, and that shows us what the ceiling is for flying in that area. It will also allow us to request an LAANC, just like Before You Fly will. But I can click on a given area here, and it will say controlled airspace, blah, 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 inactive. And I can click on one here, and you can see these are set to 0, which means there's just no flying there. Now, if we zoom out on the map, you can see that it only sets the grid up where we have to request either an LAANC, or if something is a temporary no-fly zone or a permanent no-fly zone. It also marks out little hobbyist fields here as well. You can see an AMA field right here, Kansas City Flying Circuits. And those will show up as these little green circles on the map, which is really kind of a nice little feature. And as we zoom out even more, you can see that we have some stuff over here. I just moved my mouse over, and I'm using the scroll wheel to zoom in and out here. And as I zoom in, you can see there's a lot of controlled airspace around this, because there's a Lawrence Municipal Airport right here. You can also set up different rules that you want, like if you're a Part 107 or you're recreational, that sort of thing. AIRMAP also offers a mobile application that basically works exactly the same way as the website. It does support the tablet layout, unlike Before You Fly. It gives you the identical functionality of the website, but just in a mobile app version. So this is AIRMAP. I really like AIRMAP because it really gives me a quick way to see, what needs an LAANC. So that's mainly what I use this one for. All right, let's move on to the next website. Next up is Dronepilots.Media. And these folks run a series of well-moderated forums for the discussion of a given type of drone or just commercial operations in general. So, for example, I could click here and it'll take me here to commercial drone pilots, which will then show me all of the forums and the different discussion areas that they have for this particular topic. And as you can see from this list here, they actually have quite a few different forums for you to choose from. Mavic, Phantom, Inspire, Unique, Spark, Autel, Tello, Parrot, and Skydio pilots. I highly recommend these forums. They're really excellent forums. People are generally very, very helpful in here. If you've got questions about your drone or about repairing it, or you want to buy a used drone or sell your drone, anything of that nature, you're going to be able to find that in these forums here. All right, on to the next website. AirData is another website that I'm very fond of. This is a website that will analyze your flight logs that your drone will generate. If you have a DJI drone, it will allow you to set up your DJI account within this app here, and then when you come to the website, it will automatically check the DJI cloud and see if you have new logs that you've uploaded to there, and will automatically import them into this system here. And this page right here is an overview page. As you can see, it shows basically some stats for overall flights. I've just got a few flights uploaded into here. And then if you click on a given flight, it will give you details about that flight. So for example, here it shows me a flight path and a satellite view of where I flew, as well as a whole ton of different stats about what happened during the flight. We can look at details here, and we can look at what kind of a drone I used, any notifications I might have gotten during the flight. So if I scroll down, I can see these are all the different notifications that the application gave me. They also have a larger map view here. You can have a look at that. Back to overview here. We go to power. It gives us all kinds of data about our batteries, which is really nice. Specific cell information, major deviations, etc. And shows us a graph of how the cells performed. Overall voltage and amps, which are given up here, as well as what the battery voltage drops were down here. And then battery specific info, which is really nice. Shows me which battery I was using, etc., etc. Now, to customize this battery info, you have to have a paid subscription, but the free subscription allows you to have up to 10 different logs in here at once. Usually I maintain maybe 4 or 5 logs in here at once. Now, if we go to sensors, it shows us quality of the signals that we were getting, which include GPS signals, as well as any deviations with the compass. Here we have the control signal strength. Again, brings us back to this map and shows us this stuff here. Gives us a sample of what the weather was like when we did that flight. And if any media was embedded in the log, it will also maintain it here. There's no media for this particular thing. I could upload media for it, or just show a map again if I wanted. It also shows us a nice little path of where we flew here. So this is a website, like I say, I use this a lot. It's super handy. And again, linked in the description. All right, on to the next website. This is our last main website that I'm going to cover here. I'm going to cover a couple of little bonus ones after this, but this is the last main one for covering aviation in general. This is not specific to drones, although Part 107 pilots will use this and are trained to read these. This is called a sectional. It's a aviation-oriented map of the United States. If I zoom out here, you can see it's the USA. We zoom back in. We're right back here at Kansas City, where we've been at for most of these. And as you can see, is a depiction of the airport here. These blue lines here indicate Class B airspace. And Class B airspace, you can also notice it'll say 40 and 80 here. It starts at 4,000, goes up to 8,000 feet at this outer ring. So if you're flying below 4,000 feet in this outer ring here, you're okay. You don't need clearance unless you're falling into one of these other overlapping airspaces. You might run into something where you're going to need clearance. But this is a chart that pilots use to do their flight planning. And these numbers here that you see, like 2720, these are indicating the highest obstacle in that area of the map. So 2,700 feet MSL, 2,600 feet MSL. Generally, all values indicated on here will be mean sea level values, not AGL, unless you're talking about an obstacle. So if we have an obstacle like this little guy right here, it's giving us 1424 is our mean sea level altitude for this item. And in parentheses underneath it, they put 301 feet above ground level. So there are instances where it uses both, but SkyVector, you can put in any airport thing here, and it will take you right to that airport. And you can also get the chart supplements here. So if I wanted, say, KCSEA, which would be Seattle Tacoma, I can get the specific chart, which gives me all the information about that particular airport and what other airports are around it, as well as a flight pattern. Right here, I can click on this. It'll take me right to the sectional, which is pretty nice. And right here, I have my airport chart. So if I'm looking for anything specific, like if I wanted to know exactly where the airport beacon is at or anything of that nature, where the taxiways are, how the runways are numbered and oriented, terminal locations, etc. So this is a really commonly used website for general aviation as well as drone pilots. And if you want to learn how to read these sectional charts, I'll link to a couple of YouTube tutorial videos in the description, so you can go there and get an idea of how to actually read one of these charts. They're really handy. The basic chart for a given area also has this legend over here that'll tell you all kinds of information about the given chart. All right, that's it for the main drone websites. Now we're going to move on to two supplemental ones that I like to play around with that are just for fun. I don't really use them for drone flying, but they are aviation oriented. And if you're interested in aviation, these might be of interest to you. All right, our second to last or penultimate website here is the ADSBExchange website. And what this website does is it shows us live air traffic. Now, I'm over the Burbank Airport right here. As you can see, there's a number of outlines of aircraft at the airport. And these are aircraft that are on the ground. If they're colored, then they're in the air. We'll look at some of those in just a second. If you click on a given aircraft, you're going to see what kind of a aircraft it actually is here. You'll also see all of the information about that aircraft, including altitude, speed, direction, all kinds of things. We don't have much VFR weather today. It's mostly IFR weather today, so we don't have a lot of aircraft in the air here. However, we do have a colored one here. Looks like he's coming in on an approach, possibly. This is a Boeing 737 coming into Burbank Airport here. And we can come down here. We can see his ground speed. And down below this, we can also see that they're not showing his true airspeed, but they are showing his ground speed here. I'm assuming he's on final here, but you also notice there's a trail behind it. And if we zoom out like so, you can see that it's going to show us the entire path of that aircraft. So we can see that it came from way up north here. Up San Francisco, it looks like. You can see up in San Francisco area here. As we zoom out, we're going to see a lot more aircraft in the sky, obviously. But we zoom back in here to Burbank. Looks like that's where he's landing. And you can see he's now on the ground. So we know that he's landed there. So this is a really slick website. I really like this website just for keeping an eye on what's going on. This guy took off from Van Nuys Airport over here out in the San Fernando Valley, north of Los Angeles. And he's flying off in this direction. And we can click on him, and we can also see that we can see his registration here. We can see that he is a 1966 Beech 36 Starfire Bonanza. And so it's very informative, pretty cool. You've got his squawk code here, which is kind of interesting. Now, because we can see that he is 69 Lima, we can probably hear his air traffic conversation. The same with this guy here, which is a A20 Airbus A320neo. Now, on the next website, I'm going to show you how you can listen to the radio chatter between the tower and the aircraft and that, so you can kind of follow along with what they're doing if you're interested in learning more about how aviation works. So I'll get on to that website next. All right, our final website here is liveatc.net, and this is where we can listen to live air traffic. I've got this set to the Burbank Airport right now. You can just put in the code for a given airport that you want. So like if I wanted Seattle, KSEA, I could put that in, and it would show me the Seattle feeds that I can listen to there for ground and tower, as well as ATIS and other feeds that might be active. We'll go back to Burbank just for grins here. And it shows me down here that we have one listener on this feed here. A lot of times you'll find more than one feed for a given airport, even more than one tower feed, because there'll be more than one frequency that the towers are broadcasting and listening to. So you can click on listen, and it will open up a window for us. And I can click on this. And after you wait a moment, it should start feeding us some ATC chatter. Anyways, that wraps it up. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for sticking with it for this long. I know it was a pretty long video, but I wanted to really show you guys what websites I enjoy for managing our drone flights, as well as general aviation. That'll do it for this. Please click like if you like the videos. That helps other folks find the video. And until the next video, take care.